Hello friends, you're welcome to the part 6 of building a REST API using Axum and Rust. And in this part, we'll look at how we can structure our error. So we'll be looking at a more structured error handler. By the way, I've written the code out, but what I've done is to ensure that I leave a comment on what each line is doing to make it very clear. So the first thing that we'll do is to create this error. You can install the latest version or just use what I'm using, the 2.0.17. So you have to install it, and you come to the utils. If you've been following this tutorial, we have this mod here, and you can create this error handler module here, and we have this. So I'll close my Explorer. So we will go through the line by line, then we'll look at how we can use it in our handler. The first thing to do is to import the crates and the traits that we'll be using, like for example the JSON, which is used to return JSON responses. This was called like the 200, 400 and whatnot. And we have the trait of into response and the response that converts the errors into HTTP response. And we have set a JSON for building JSON structured easily. And this is the crate that we just installed, which is the derived macro for clean custom error definition. And in this block, we defined a custom error, this an enum. So in the enum, we have the SQLX error, which is the database error, and we have this placeholder here. So whatever we are passing inside the SQLX error will be inserted into this 0. And it's the same for the bad request, unauthorized. So we can say bad request and we can pass the actual error in the form of string here. So let's not jump before ourselves. And so this will define the human readable error message, the 0, this placeholder here. We'll insert the inner value of the enum variant, like I explained earlier. Whatever error we have here will be inserted into this placeholder. Same as for validation error, forbidden error, and whatnot. And we need to implement the app error, which is a enum that we declared here. So we'll implement the method, implement the app error. Then we can implement the bad request method, which we convert it into a string, and we can have the app error.bad request. And I left a message here that's why message into. So because the message is of generic type T, if you notice here, we have this T here and not necessarily a string. So that's why we need to convert whatever is given to a string. All right. Same as for unauthorized, same as for forbidden, validation error and whatnot. And the final part that we have here is to use this trait. If you shift K, if you read about the document, we have trait for generating responses. So this is a trait. And this for just for implementing. If you read about this for, you see for is used in the for loop, and for, this is the line that we are concerned with, is used when implementing traits. See of for as the column in some languages like Java. You want to implement something. You want to implement a contract, which we all know as interface. I'll close this. What we have here basically is just, we are taking the error and matching it to the correct source code and the message that we receive from each method here in the forbidden, in the unauthorized and whatnot. Then we can build a JSON response body. Then for every error, the success will be false. Then the error will be this. And the message, if I come back, it's the message that we receive from this parameter. And at the end, we want to combine the status plus the JSON body into full Axum response. I know it's a very long and complex code, but if I remove all the comments, and you will see that it's not really much. It's just the enum that we declared, the implementation and the conversion into the Axum HTTP response, and that will be all. You can also expand on this. For example, if you want to add the for not found, we don't have that here. You can come here and do error, and this will be not found, and we open our placeholder, then we call it not found, then we can pass a string like we did for, and we can come here and declare a public function not found. Remember, the method should be in snake case. Or better still, let's be a lazy developer. I will copy this, copy from here and paste here, and we can change this to not found, and the up arrow will now be not found. And this self is saying that not found is not covered, so we need to add the not found. I can copy this, we can paste, and this should be this format, not found, and it should be not found if this, and the error is gone. So this is how you can expand on what we have currently, the error handler that we have. So let's go to our user route, which is our handler. Let's use, for example, the bad request here and whatnot. So we'll be doing our manual error handling here. I'll come here and we can do if payload dot email dot trim. That is, you want to remove the white space dot is empty. So returns true if self has a length of 0 byte. That is, if nothing is found there. We accept this, then we can just return error. So this one will contain the error value. Then we can pass in the app error from what we declared. Then we can pick the bad request. Then you can see email is required, like so. And we have a mismatch. Instead of returning the string, this should be app error, and we can remove. You don't need all this. Remove this too. So we can also do that for password too. So if payload.password, we can do a bad request, we can do password is required. So, and for this, instead of doing a manual source code and this, we can remove from this point and just do app error dot from. Then we can pass the error, then we close and call this. And we forgot to remove this underscore and pass the error in. So if you remember, in the app error enum, we declared it from, which is the, not this, that's from here. There's this from here, the SQLX error. So that's what we are using. Close this and go back to, did I just quit? Let's go back to our user. I think we are working with the login. So, and for these two, so we can delete from here. Then we pass in the app error. App error. Then we do my autocomplete is not working. Anyways, we'll continue. Not found. Can do not found. User not found. Then we can close this. Okay, is this meant to be? Yep. So it's meant to be comma not question mark. Same as for the valid. So we'll just correct all this. For the valid password, I'll turn this to app error. Then we call this unauthorized. Authorized. So we can do invalid credentials. And close this. The error is gone. And for this, also we can delete from here. So we pass the app error. And also use the unauthorized invalid credentials. You can use another error here, like something, maybe bcrypt error or something went wrong. But let's just keep it as invalid credentials for both. So this one is the bcrypt error. If there is a malfunction in the verifying function. And for line 70, we are checking if the valid is true or false. Anyways, let's continue. And lastly, for the token, let's undo that. I'll delete from here. And we can do app error. You can pass the unexpected, which is the 500 error. Then we close, and that will be all. Did I miss anything here? Oh, this is supposed to be a semicolon. All right, and the E is not used. We can turn this to underscore, and the one is gone. And we have a redundant closure here. Anyway, we can leave it this for now. And let's give it a whirl. I'll do cargo run. So we have our server running on port 7879, and let's go back to our client. In the login, where's our login? Like so. So these are email. I'll remove the email and make it empty. Save and do a rest run. And we have our validation. Email is required. The message is email is required. So this is false. It means error handler is working. And also, if I put the email I want to do, and I'll remove the password. Let's do a rest run. Password is required, and this is working. So let's go back to our code. And if we have invalid credentials, let's do that. I will pass in the wrong credential. I'll save and I'll do a rest run. And we have the unauthorized invalid credentials. You can also expand on this by removing this backslash. But if you copy this, let's go back to agency linter. Then we can paste this here and validate JSON. This is what you will get in your Postman or in any of your clients. We have this structured error we have the error. Let me zoom in a bit. We have the error, the kind, the message, and success is false here. So I'll go back to my error handler. So this is how you can do a well-structured error handler instead of calling the status code and the string at all times. So this brings us to the end of this lesson. If you enjoyed this lesson, please do well to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next class. Thank you.